everybody, you're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain. This is the weekly radio show where we chat about local arts news. We have a different guest on each week. We head over to the Rhylight Zone for a short story and or some poetry, and we catch up with Twangling Jack over in the York Shed for a weekly album review. As always, you can find us on Facebook. If you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, you should be able to find us. And we are repeated on Wickham Sound on Monday nights. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please do leave us a short review on your podcast platform of choice. It all helps. As always, you can find us on Facebook. If you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, you should be able to find us. And we are repeated on Wickham Sound on Monday nights. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again, iTunes, Spotify. I said that, didn't I? You can also reach out to me here at the studio by dropping me an email on dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. So this week we are going to be chatting to Alexander from Get Free Books. But before we do that, we're going to head over to the Rhylight Zone for the latest instalment of Monsters of Rock by myself, Dane Cobain. Chapter 10, The Manager, 1995. By January, Groan Gronadson was drinking heavily. Working on the tour was taking its toll on him, and they hadn't even played their first date. He'd been working over Christmas, but that didn't bother him too much because few dwarves celebrate it. It all reached a head on January 7th, when Groan woke up fully clothed in a puddle of his own to the sound of the doorbell ringing. He spat out a torrent of semi-coherent dwarfish and went to answer the door. "Jesus," Steve said, wincing at the fumes that were coming off the dwarf. He pinched his nose, even though he'd lost his sense of smell and he'd lost the ability to breathe. He couldn't smell growing, but zombies are highly attuned to the preservative properties of strong alcohol. "You don't look so good." "I don't feel so good either," Groen admitted. "You'd better come in." His living room was strewn with empty tankards, and the ashtrays were overflowing with his foul-smelling pipeweed. There were stacks of out-of-date newspapers and plates covered with the detritus of forgotten meals or piled high with the plastic trays that came with cheap TV dinners. The floor needed hoovering, the kitchen needed a good clean, and the rent needed paying. "Groen," Steve said, "you need to snap out of this." "What's wrong?" "There's too much to do," Groen said. "I can't stay on top of it, Steve. One dwarf can only do so much." "The bottle isn't the answer," Steve said. "Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. You need help." "We need a manager," Groen said. He didn't sound too happy about it. "Take a look at yourself," Steve said. "Groen Gonadson, you've let yourself go. Your family would be ashamed of you. Pull yourself together. Look, I'll help." Steve led by example, shambling around the house and doing his best to clean it, although it wasn't easy. Once Groen saw what he was doing and decided to help out, it quickly became clear that even with a hangover, the dwarf moved faster and did a more thorough job of things. All it needed was a little push, and his undead bandmate was the perfect person to provide it. It took them most of the day, and darkness had fallen by the time that they finished the spring clean and settled down in front of the telly. Steve ordered a Chinese, but he drew the line when the dwarf suggested a drink. "Not now," he said. "You need a night off. And besides, we've got a busy day tomorrow." "Why is that?" Groen asked. "We need to get the word out," Steve said. "We're hiring ourselves a manager." It took them a couple of weeks to get the ads out, and it took another couple of weeks to finalise appointments with the people who'd responded. With no better ideas, they'd adopted a scattergun approach, running ads in the back pages of music magazines and putting up postcards in shop windows. They listed Groen's home phone number as the contact and screened them all with the answering machine. From the messages alone, they could tell that they'd attracted a broad bunch of characters. Some were human, some were dwarves, some were gnomes, and some were elves. There were even a couple of orcs, but Groen didn't call them back. For all he knew, they were in league with the Dark Lord. The date was set for February 2nd, and they'd be holding the interviews in the back of the Rose and Crown. Cedric had long since given up any hope of getting rid of the band, and he let them use the room at their leisure. Groen even had a spare set of keys for the back door, and he knew the codes for the alarms. Not that he ever needed to use them, as Cedric barely left the place. When he wasn't working, he was drinking, and he shared an upstairs flat with his long-suffering wife and a pet puppy. The band was in for a long day. They were booked up from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. with 2 interviews an hour, and even that wasn't enough for them to see everyone that they'd wanted to. It started to feel even longer after they spoke to the first 5 candidates. 3 of them were rubbish, 1 was downright terrible, and the other didn't even bother to show up. "At this rate, we're going to have to keep on managing ourselves," Groen said. After a couple more unsuccessful applications, the band was about ready to call it quits. Luckily, the no-show was followed by another one, so they had time for another cheeky pint. Groen downed 2 and then ordered a third, which he took back through into the back room. The next applicant was a write-off as well, and then there were only 3 more left, then 2. When it was time for the final interview, the band had all but given up hope. And then the lights dimmed and went out altogether. The double doors into the bar swung open and boomed as they clattered against the walls. And then the final applicant for the managerial role came in. There was a pregnant pause, which again gave birth. In the darkness, their visitor clapped his hands and 2 orbs appeared in the air and then flew up into the eaves, where they settled inside the room's industrial lighting. All of a sudden, the room was aglow again, more brightly lit than it had been before, and the band got their first look at the newcomer. He was a wizard, that much was clear. He was wearing an electric blue robe and holding a staff that was taller than he was. It was made of mahogany, and the head of it was carved into the shape of a clenched fist. It seemed to be surrounded by a faint glow, some sort of hum of power, like a telegraph wire. His face was tanned and wizened with a large bulbous nose, and his long white hair hung down from the top of his head and merged with his beard, which was twisted into dreadlocks. He wore rings on each of his fingers and a short sword at his belt, along with a tobacco pouch and a hip flask. Seeming to sense the band's eyes upon it, he took the flask from his belt, popped the lid off and raised it to his lips. He took a quick swig and smacked his lips together appreciatively, then returned the flask to his belt. "Hi," he said, anticlimactically. "I'm Ramstick." "You're what stick?" Groen said. "Ramstick," the wizard repeated. "Ramstick Vestibule at your service. I'm here to apply for the job as your manager." "I see," Groen said. "And what have you got to offer us?" Ramstick clapped his hands again and the lights went back out. A thunderclap echoed overhead and then a portal opened in the ceiling. A deep, rasping, demonic laugh echoed around their practice room, and then 2 long taloned claws wrapped themselves around the ceiling tiles and a huge red face peered through. It peeled back its lips to leer at them with its razor-sharp teeth poking out of the moor like the mouth of a shark breaking the surface of the waves. It laughed at them again, and the harsh sound combined with the sight of its ungodly face was enough to turn their stomachs. Then Ramstick thumped his staff against the floor 2 times in quick succession. The demon disappeared and the lights flickered back into life. The band was speechless. They all had thoughts, and those thoughts were all articulable, but when they opened their mouths and wobbled their vocal cords, no sound came out. It was then that they realised that there was no sound at all, not even the humming of the amps or the chatter of punters filtering in through from the main room of Cedric's pub. It was a perfect silence, the kind of silence that none of them had ever heard before. It was the silence of death. Ramstick raised his staff in the air and the lights dulled again as a bright beam of light came in through the window, as though someone had set up a spotlight outside and Ramstick was standing centre stage. Then he opened his mouth and started to speak, and his voice echoed through the silence like a bazooka in the dead of night. It had a little reverb and a lot of bass, and the treble was just enough for it to highlight the timbre of his voice without hitting the listener in the face like a kick to the ear. "My friends," he said, "you asked me what I could offer you. Here's what I can offer you. I'm a magician. Not quite a full magus, but a reasonable master of the arts." "You're an illusionist?" Yeaver asked. "I dabble," Ramstick replied, "but I'm more of a diviner." "Where did you study?" "I'm self-taught," Ramstick said. "I studied at the School of Hard Knocks and the University of Light." "Like a BMP supporter," Groen murmured. "I read a bunch of books," the mage continued. "Books are wonderful, you know. A whole world of learning at your fingertips, and that's just a fiction. You can teach yourself all kinds of magic if you know where to look. I picked up the basics of divination from a couple of books I picked up from a hippie shop, and the rest, as they say, is history. If you ask me, magic is just science with a bit of imagination." "Some imagination," Groen said, thinking back to the terrifying thing that had appeared through the roof as though it was emerging through the gates of hell. "I've never been much of a reader myself." "You're missing out," Ramstick said. "Books are my life. I don't use a magic wand, I use a magic tomb." "What about your staff?" "Ah, this old thing," the wizard said dismissively. He held the staff up in front of him and looked at it as though he'd never seen it before, and then in one swift movement he twisted his wrist and broke it in 2 as though it was a stick of Brighton rock. "I only use it for appearances. It's about as magical as a dog's fart." "Okay, old man," Steve said, eyeing him suspiciously. "Zombies and wizards have a rocky history that's gone surprisingly undocumented. That's all very impressive, but what can you do for us?" "Well, like I said, I'm a diviner." "You're diviner than what?" Groen asked, wondering if he was a religious nut, perhaps one of the Cthulhu worshippers who like to burn unbelievers in extravagant iron models of their many-appendaged god. But Ramstick shook his head. "Not the adjective," the magician said. "The noun. I see things and hear things." Things that aren't there. Ramstick shrugged. Sometimes, he said. I see what has been, what is, what will be, and what will never come to pass. The skill comes from figuring out which is which. And that makes you a decent manager because... This came from Yeva, who'd been watching the discussion from behind her keyboard, and the magician turned to look at her and gave her the kind of stare that might have made her uncomfortable in other circumstances. If any other man had looked at her like that, she would have accused him of mentally undressing her. But Ramsticker was a magician and Yeva had magical blood. She knew that he wasn't trying to look beneath her clothes. He was trying to look within her. Ah, he said, you're a child of the forest, I see. Practical creatures, elves. I'm a dark elf, she said. But of course, the wizard replied. I could hardly miss it. You didn't answer my question. My magic can help because I can guide your career in the right direction, Ramstick said. I can tell you what's going to be a hit and what isn't. All of my songs are hit, Groen said. Yeva stifled a laugh. I've seen what will be, the wizard added. It's destined to happen. I will be your manager. Says who? Groen said. I'm more of a fan of free will. Says me, Ramstick replied. I've seen your other applicants. What choice do you have? Groen spat on the floor and cursed in Dwarfish. You're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. That was the latest instalment of a novel of mine that's being serialised by, I'm making no sense here, called Monsters of Rock. And this is So Long Space Girl with Bonfire.
They told you were perfect, so you never had to sing a different song. Made fun of those who weren't like you, while other kids stood by and cheered you on. You fit in here, a sense of self that stops you moving on. You still obstinately cling to every misbelief you held since you were young. There's a difference between moving out and running away, and I don't see how you leaving now will solve anything, but I know you've got your reasons, so goodbye. Nothing I can say could make it right, 'cause whatever you think I said, you're probably right, and whatever you think I did, you're probably right. I could not convince you if I tried. There's a distance between here and where I thought I'd end up, but I'm scared to take that leap of faith. I just get up, but I'll rewrite this 100,000 times. Keep on fucking up until I get it just right, 'cause whatever you think I said, you're probably right, and whatever you think I did, you're probably right. I could not convince you if I tried.
You make me feel lucky, so much I could will, and anything and everything. Whatever I begin, I've only to look deeply in your eyes to see the depths of security and where honesty lies. And that's how I feel with you. A smile is always on my face, and nothing has the power to take. Loving comes at its own pace. They say true love makes you feel invincible, like going to the moon. It's considered incomprehensible. They say true love makes you feel invincible, like going to the moon. It's considered incomprehensible. And that's how I feel with you. A smile is always on my face, and nothing has the power to take. Loving comes at its own pace. They say true love makes you feel invincible, like going to the moon. It's considered incomprehensible. They say true love makes you feel invincible, like going to the moon. It's considered incomprehensible.
That was True Love by Annette Valentine, and before that we had So Long Space Girl with Bonfires. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and it's time for us to catch up with Alexander from Get Free Books. Well, the first question, I have a typical opening question, and I think you'll have an interesting one for this, an interesting answer, because it's what was the last book that you read, and what did you think of it?
The last book I read was Michael Ball's new autobiography that he's got out currently. I got it for Christmas because I'm a musical theatre person, and it's ever so interesting, I tell you. It is such a good read of his musical theatre career. I love it.
Awesome. Well, that then begs the question of what was the last piece of musical theatre that you saw?
Oh, I saw Heathers last Thursday at college. But really, I just keep watching ABBA, like Mamma Mia. I love that so much.
Fair enough. Did you ever get to see the Voyage?
No, I wanna go and see the ABBA Experience. I think it's still on in London, but hopefully one day if I can afford it.
Yes, yeah, that is the problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. And before we get on to the main sort of subject of our interview, again, you just on the subject of musical theatre, do you do it yourself? Are you a performer as well, or very much a consumer of it?
I'm definitely I am a performer for it. I study musical theatre at college,
Amazing.
BCA. I mostly do panto every Christmas, so that's quite fun. Been in quite a few pantos now, so
Oh,
yeah,
no, you
very.
haven't.
Oh, I was waiting for that one.
Yeah.
But seeing the joy of an audience when you go out onto the stage and seeing all those faces look up at you, and you think to yourself, right, I really have to make these people laugh, make it their money's worth. I think I've achieved that, hopefully, but You never know these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully.
And is that something you want to pursue? Is like, what are your plans for the future with that?
I mean, I tell everyone in the future I want to retire rich. So hopefully I can continue to do that through performing and whatnot. Or maybe I'd quite like to do some radio actually.
Yeah.
So good interview time this.
Well,
More
there's always
TV as well.
opportunities at Wickham Sound as
Yeah.
well. So
Oh yes. I might look into that, you know.
yeah, you should. There's plenty of there's kind of an onboarding process. You can get a bit of training. You can do it
Hmm.
however you want as well. So I do everything from home because I like being at
Yeah,
home. You can go into the studio, you can record in the studio, you can present live however you want to. But
that'd be
yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
we should get on to the main subject of our interview. So obviously we want to chat about get free books. So I thought we'd start with, I guess, well, can you tell us what get free books is?
Well, we are part of the Global Educational Trust. Let me find something I've written down here. So our mantra really is given that libraries are closing and books are getting so expensive now, the Global Educational Trust are aiming to reduce the number of books going to landfill,
Mhm.
inspire and increase the number of people reading, and deter kids from screens and technology, drawing them back to their magical world inside books. So anyone doesn't know where we are 4 Octagon Parade, just out past the Eden Centre. Uh, but I have got a little thing about that I may need to say to you on air. So we are moving our shop. Nobody knows about this, by the way, but by
Amazing.
the time it's aired, uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm allowed to say this. I made sure of this, but we're moving into the Sports Direct building, which is just
Okay,
next. We are going to be sharing it with other charities, so hoping to bring the community all together.
amazing.
But yeah, a little exclusive for you.
Yeah. And do you know what those other charities are going to be?
Not yet, no. We had a meeting last Wednesday inside the shop, so we had a little tour around of what it could be. But
Hmm.
in the next couple of weeks, we're slowly starting to move everything over there.
Well, at least it's not a super long walk for you guys from where you are now.
Thankfully not. But no, hoping to bring in more customers so
Yeah,
more people get to take up books.
amazing. And how long have you been in High Wycombe? So where did the current location, when did that open?
We opened in March last year because we've just celebrated our 1 year anniversary. Uh, yeah, no, it was in the summer actually. I joined in March. It was in summertime, August 2025. Yeah,
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
yeah. Because I joined in March after walking past one day because I looked in and I thought, oh, this is too good to be true. Get free books.
Mm.
And then when the shop was open, I walked in and said, are you like being serious? Is it really free books? And they said, oh, yes, it is. Like, we're not a cult or anything. We just want
Mm.
people to read again. And ever
I mean, to be
since then,
fair, that's what a cult would say.
well, yeah, you know that. But I mean, I'm hoping as of yet for volunteering there for a little while now. I don't think we are. But
Yeah,
I do tell our customers we're not a cult. So,
yeah.
you know, but when I first started volunteering there, I was just shocked at the amount of people, well, books we had, and that
Mm.
people didn't know where we are. So ever since I've become sort of manager of it, I'm just wanting to get out there, wanting people
Yeah,
to find us and love us.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Cool. And obviously there's a whole network of get free books throughout the country, right?
Oh
Do you,
yes,
do you
there
know
are
how many
about
there are?
16 other shops in the country. Recently, me and Richie, who's my deputy manager, we've met the founders of the Get Free Books,
Mhm.
Yusuf and Junaid, who came down. They are so lovely people. Uh, I was a bit shocked when I met them at first because they were from all the way up north. So I've never really met another northerner before, so that was interesting. But they're such lovely people. Getting to know them and getting to know why they wanted to help people with books, especially
Hmm.
through the cost of living. It's such a joy to be a part of. Really, really is.
And am I right in saying like the organization, I suppose they help you as you're getting started, but do you,
Yeah.
if you've got a surplus of books, do you swap those with other stores, etc.? How do they interlink?
So if we've got surplus, we do message other shops on Facebook. Of course, it's quite difficult getting them to like people in the other
Mm.
part of the country. But I mean, we haven't as of yet got too many surplus books. We just rely on really if a customer comes into the shop and if they say, "Oh, I've got one more book. I know I'm only allowed three," we'll say, "Yeah, go on then, just
Hmm.
take it." Because as long as it's going to a happy home and people are reading, I really do hope they are reading, but as long as they enjoy it, then that's what matters, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and on that, so your limit is obviously 3 books per visit. Roughly what percentage of visitors would you say are like repeat visitors who come back again?
Oh, we definitely get the same. We have the same faces every day. A couple of our customers are just regulars every single day we're open.
Yeah.
Bless them, they're so lovely. We have Mark and Craig. I don't know if they listen to Wickham Sounds, but there's a shout out for them. Uh, they're honestly the people you meet in the Get Free Book shop who tell you some of the most wackiest stories. You never know what you can hear in a Get Free Book shop, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's so funny and such a joy.
Amazing. And so, in terms of both donations but also volunteering, how can people get involved if they want to support you guys?
But if you want to support us, you just walk into the shop and say, I want to volunteer or I want to help out. Well, then put your number in the book and we'll get in contact with you down for a little meet and greet session. I'll give you a tour around the shop and then we'll put you in for a trial shift of whenever you're available.
Cool. And how many sort of core or regular volunteers would you say you guys have?
We've got about, I was trying to count it earlier. There's about, in our group chat, we've got, I'd say, 27 strong volunteers that work every single week. And then we have about 3 volunteers that are away at university. So
Mhm.
obviously, we don't, that obviously really matters to them. Well, and to us. And then we've got Ro and Lorraine, who are the overseers that help us, that help the charity. So, like, they help set up the original locations.
Mhm.
So, like, us in High Wycombe, and then we've got another shop in London. So they're constantly ping ponging back along the country, looking after all these shops.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why they gave me and Richie. So we're the main key holders to the
Mm.
shop. So we're in charge of the day-to-day running of it
Yeah.
and making sure it's still standing, which thankfully it has.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, a couple of questions I want to ask about the books in particular. You must have come across some very unusual books in your time there. I wondered if there were any that stand out as particularly unusual books that you've seen.
Um, we have got a couple of books. What's the weirdest one I've seen come in? We had a book from the 1700s come in once. We're currently having that binded for us
Cool.
because it wasn't in the best of condition, but we're hoping to maybe get some money from for other charities,
Yeah.
hopefully. Uh, we've had a couple of cancelled celebrities books come in, which we don't know what to do about. So currently they're in a box at the back of the shop, waiting until well someone either looks through it. And yeah, but we can't put some of them out because
Yeah.
yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can
we have had a
imagine.
lot. Oh yeah, we have had a lot of old Bibles,
Yeah.
as well as a kid's book from 1971. an old copy of The Wind in the Willows. So you'll never know what you'll get in a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that box, I'm gonna have a look through that actually. Reminded me.
You're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain. I'm here in conversation with Alexander from Get Free Books, just chatting books and stuff. And this is Twangling Jack Ford with Music in a Pub with Friends.
Sometimes I want to sing about injustice and how we could make this world a better place. Sometimes I want to rage against the system and the hardships we all have to face. Sometimes I want to wash away the crime that no detergent could ever cleanse. Sometimes I just want to go into town and make music in a pub with some friends. Sometimes I want to question why progress must be fueled by greed. Bankers make us poor to earn more than they'll ever need. Sometimes I just want to take a break from this cycle that never ends. Sometimes I just want to go into town and make music in a pub with some friends. I boringly lecture on all of society's flaws. Sometimes it's overconsumption makes me get up on my high horse and blame the devotees of fashion, those dedicated followers of trends. But sometimes I just want to go into town and make music in a pub with some friends. I'm not someone who could talk to a crowd or even an average youth, but I think I can get my ideas across with the aid of a simple tune. And despite the constraints of meter and rhyme, I think I can still make sense. And I take my songs as I go into town to make music in a pub with some friends.
That was Music in a Pub with Friends by Twangling Jack Ford. You're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and it's time for me to be rejoining conversation now by this week's guest, who is Alexander from Get Free Books. Well, and that also leads on to a related question, which is what happens to the books that nobody takes?
So those books that nobody takes, well, to be honest, this is going to be a really easy question answer. Remember that book tree that I don't know if you saw it on Facebook?
I think so, yeah.
Those books were a lot of books from it that nobody had taken for months upon months. And really now they're just in a box waiting until we move. But when we do move, we're going to do a section of pre-2000s like romance, for example, because not many people take them nowadays. Yeah. Which is a shame. But we're hoping once we have a big section of it, people are going to start taking it.
Yeah.
hopefully a lot more.
And
Yeah.
are there any books in particular that you just get over and over again? Like I'm imagining like Dan Brown, maybe like the 50 Shades of Grey books, the ones that
Oh
the
yes.
charity shops get all the time as well.
Yeah, we've got about currently 10 copies of 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
So if you know anyone that wants a copy of 50 Shades of Grey, please come and take the
Oh,
whole lot.
so yeah, I was going to say they can have on that one instead of 3 books, they can have all 10 as long as they take them all.
Oh yeah,
You
definitely.
could do it. You could do it like a reading a book club or something like that, who all decide to randomly do 50 Shades of Grey, and then they could take the lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've never read the book, don't want to. We
Uh,
have flicked through a couple of the pages while we haven't had any customers,
yeah.
and yeah, that's enough for me.
Fair enough. Cool. So another thing I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned this a bit earlier, is the
Mm.
younger readers. And I know
Yeah.
obviously you've got your sort of your kids corner. I thought wondered if you could tell us a little bit about that and what you do to sort of engage those younger readers and get them reading.
Mm. Well, I don't know if you've seen while walking past, we have all the teddies in the windows. So it something well, like children, they love teddies, for example.
Mm,
So they come running in saying, "Oh, can I have that one? Oh, I can have that one." We don't often give them out. If they choose three really, really good books that they
mm,
know they're going to read, then we give them a teddy because I know it's an incentive, but we need to get them to read, and
hmm
they can come back to us and say, "Oh, I've read this one. Can I read something else?" And
hmm
that's quite. We've got quite a few kids into reading Harry Potter recently,
hmm
which I mean, that's what I grew up loving to read, learning about Hogwarts and everything.
hmm
They usually love David Williams as well. His children's books are
hmm
utter hilarious. Uh, what other ones? But no, they just come in and say, "Oh, can I have that one?" Originally, when they do come into the shop first time, they are so shy. They're
Yeah.
like, "No, I don't want to be here. Can I go home?" But if you just like get down with the kid, get on the kid's level, and be like, "What would you really like to read?" Then they usually tell them because they
hmm
say, "Oh, mum and daddy will choose it for me." We'll be like, "No, we want to know what you would like to read.
hmm
What captures your imagination?" And usually it's they warm to you a little bit. And when they come in, they're like, "Oh, can you choose me another one on this bit?" So we have a look in the box, and if it
hmm
isn't there, we'll say, "Oh no, we haven't got this one, but would you like to try another one?"
Yeah.
And that is slowly starting to work in. I mean, even when I walk through Wickham Town Centre, if I see them, they come running up to me and like, "Oh, I'm reading this. Oh, I'm reading that." Now, I have to admit, my memory is not the best at times, and so I have to admit, what's this strange child coming running
Yeah.
up to me? And then it clicks. Oh, it's from the bookshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I wondered, do you know roughly how many books you've given out so far?
Oh, we have got the list here from last month, which is on the group chat somewhere. Let me have a little look. To date, we've had uh 30,538 books out.
That's insane.
So over a year, that's quite good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's literally a full bookshop and then some.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't ask us how many books we've got because I can't for the life
Yeah.
tell you. Because
Yeah.
well, especially we're getting 100 books in every day at the moment, which is utterly brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need more books out, I tell you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, do you often get people who will take their 3 books, they'll go and read them, and then they'll bring them back and take out another 3 books?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of our customer base is like that. I mean, they use us like a library,
Yeah.
but
Well, why not?
we're all right with that. Yeah,
Cool. Awesome. Okay, well, that's most of what I wanted to ask you about. I normally like to end on just saying what's next for you and where can people go to find out more. You've given us a little bit of a preview of what's next for you guys.
yeah.
So, but where is the best place for people to stay up to date with you? You know, check out your opening hours, see what you've got coming into the shop, and all of that stuff.
Well, on our Facebook page, let me go on to it. Our Facebook page is Get Free Books High Wycombe. I don't know if you can see that possibly.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have all of our news pops up. We have all of our opening hours, and we have all funny videos that we like to post when we're bored.
Yeah. And
So, and
speaking of your opening hours, what are they? I know obviously it depends on a volunteer availability, but do you have
yeah,
any sort of ones that are pretty typical for you guys?
typical. We're always open on a Monday and always open so Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Just Tuesday and Thursday depends on if we do have volunteers. Saturday is usually pretty steady. But I'd say Sunday we're not open at the minute ever. But when
Mm.
we do move, we're looking to hopefully start opening then.
Yeah. And on that, I suppose, and I suppose it's early days at the moment, but is the hope there that with some of the other sort of charities that are hopefully going to be on the premises there, hopefully you can kind of all help each other. So even if one charity isn't
Yeah,
around on a Tuesday, it's you'll be there or whatever it might be, so that you can
yeah.
all help each other and actually all have greater opening hours.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a real step up for our community as a whole.
Mm.
Hopefully, we'll see more people.
Big thank you to Alexander from Get Free Books for joining me. You're listening to The Archer on 106.6 FM Wickham Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and this is Nick Byrne with Summer Rain.
Walk, just walk with me. We'll just see. You don't have to speak. All wrapped up and hard to read. We won't seek anything. That summer rain will wash it all away. Yes, I know young love can be temporary. I'll try and take your mind from the thoughts that steal your light. Waves crash down, in comes the tide. Do you feel the rush? We're frozen in time. That summer rain will wash it all away. Yes, I know young love can be temporary. And I'm uncertain, his youth is fleeting, but I'm still breathing, so I'll rest my burden. That summer rain will wash it all away. Tell me now what I'm supposed to know. At now the age that I'm at, though all of my senses, they were fading. All of the things that I survey, watch now them all just fade away, as now the world is always changing, and I'm done. As I would sit and contemplate, am I just a little late for all the things that I was dreaming? Oh, I'm now for dear life, till now the glimmer and right, but now I see it slowly fading, and I'm done. Success or failure is so sweet compared to never even trying. Run now and face it all head on. Take now the knocks to make you strong. So why are you still not avoiding? And I'm done.
That was Fire by Kit Goff, and before that we had Summer Rain by Nick Byrne. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain, and it's time for us to head over to the Ilk Shed now to catch up with Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review.
A Love Supreme, John Coltrane. I would like to be so bold as to suggest that were you to draw a Venn diagram of the tastes of rock, jazz and classical music listeners, one of the few pieces you would find in the central intersection would be A Love Supreme. If you tire of the dominant sevenths of blues-based rock, the suspensions and drones of folk, and the consonance and dissonance of classical music, then you might fancy some of those complex but satisfying piano chords that demand no resolution and exist each as their own musical statement. Also, you might want some of that gentle swinging rhythm, upright bass, and some tinkling solo piano. A Love Supreme is like a jazz saxophone concerto in 3 movements. It establishes and plays with a central 4-note motive that when you first hear it sings the title, and later Coltrane himself sings it multi-tracked. It is like a hymn, a mantra, a sacred chant. It is his statement of spirituality. The saxophone is like a singer. It is in places meticulously composed and in other places improvised but still finding sweet melodies. There are also the lightning fast flurries of notes or sheets of sound that were Coltrane's favourite things. In the final section he takes a written piece and plays it without words. The album came out in 1965 and was a big influence on the upcoming rock bands like the Byrds and Santana. U2 have also claimed it as an influence. It is definitely a jazz album for music lovers looking for something that goes beyond the limits of rock music. A Love Supreme, John Coltrane.
Big thank you to Twangling Jack Ford for this week's album review. Thank you to Get Free Books for being this week's guest. Thank you to everyone whose music I've shared. As always, you can find us on Facebook. If you search for The Art Show on Wickham Sound, you should be able to find us. We are repeated on Wickham Sound on Monday nights. We're on the Wickham Sound Listen Again, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Please do leave us a short review on your podcast platform of choice. It all helps. You can also reach out to me directly here at the studio by dropping me a line on dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. That's dane.cobain@wickhamsound.org.uk. So until next week, I'm going to leave you with one last tune. This is previous guest Colin Upfield with Nothing I Can Do. I'll catch you next week.
Yesterday is gone, now tomorrow's all I have. But I guess that ain't so bad. Time is moving on, embracing young and old into some relenting hope. There's no reason to feel remorse, 'cause you can't change course. You made your bed, you gotta lie in it. Ain't nothing I can do, there's no way I can mend the things I did back then. No way to know if life will treat me rough. Guess I'll find out soon enough. Instead of changing world, we slowly live our lives with youth as my only vice. Little boys and girls, we soon grow old and wise. We're too weak to claim our prize, but you can't beat it. You fix a grin as a rot sets in, you fade away as a vulture circle. Ain't nothing I can do, there's no way I can mend the things I did back then. No way to know if life will treat me rough. Guess I'll find out soon enough. Ain't nothing I can do, there's no way I can mend the things I did back then. No way to know if life will treat me rough. Guess I'll find out soon enough. Time's running out, now time's all I've got. Time to back the clock, and I know what's done is the past. And like everyone, my time will come. I'll find out soon enough, find out soon enough. Ain't nothing I can do, there's no way I can mend the things I did back then. No way to know if life will treat me rough. Guess I'll find out soon enough. Ain't nothing I can do, there's no way I can mend the things I did back then. No way to know if life will treat me rough. Guess I'll find out soon enough.
Agatha Christie came to tea. When she knocked on the door and asked for me. When she arrived at 3:10. When already told you 3:10.